stage is over, what we will do? We will call like-minded people, friends, and we will discuss about this. And what the beautiful introduction also we will give. Prabhuji, actually I'm not committing offense, okay? Actually I know that person, but still I wanted to share this, Prabhu. And he did that to me. How can he do that? He is like that, he is like that. And that joy we experience, no, when we commit aparadha, amazing ananda we experience. And we go on and on and on. And that person may be leaving. Still we will catch them. No, one more thing, you listen, you become, I will, like that it goes on. So when we start doing verbal offense, we get distanted from the holy name. We lose the taste for holy name. We get ourselves distanted from the holy name. And holy name and Krishna will go away from us. And the third is physical offense. And when we do this physical offense, actually we are ruining ourselves completely. So these are different, mental offense, then verbal offense, then physical offense. First we get disturbed, then we lose the taste of the holy name, and third we gradually start ruining ourselves. So Raghuguna Maharaja surrendered and he said, I know you are a great personality. I know you are a wonderful personality. But I have two questions. I have few questions to ask to you. Please, oh great sir, please explain to me. You said this world is temporary. Everything is changing. The king will become a servant, servant will become a king, man will become an animal, animal may become a man. You said it's all changing, it's temporary. But still, the pain and pleasure we experience in the temporary phase is also true. So how can we deny that temporary existence? Should we not accept it? A wonderful question asked by Raghuguna Maharaja. He asked very openly. You see, all our Puranas, it is not blind faith. Many people say all Ramayana, this Bhagavat, Mahabharata, all these are stupid stories written by some old people, and this thing meaningless. It is not meaningless. None of our Puranas and scriptures are meaningless. Apaurushaya, it is not written by humans. Bhagavat Rachita, it's spoken by God, a truth which can win time, which can bypass and surpass time, which will never get influenced and changed by time. Amazing, Satyam. Our scriptures are so valuable. It is amazing. It can go on forever and ever. So this kind of truth is very important. So here, Raghuguna is asking these two wonderful questions to Bharata. You said temporary. I agree. We are all temporary. Our role is temporary. I am a king today. Tomorrow I won't be a king. This is true. I agree. But then, even within the temporary, what we experience is, true. That short time of experience is true. Then, the next two chapters of Bhagavatam, purely Jataparata explaining and instructing Raghuguna Maharaja. When he was asked to speak, Raghuguna Maharaja spoke, and you will be surprised. Raghuguna Maharaja directly attacking the king, such a humble person he was, non-reactive throughout in the past two janmas, very careful as a Bharata Maharaja, very careful as the deer, and very humble as Jataparata also. But the moment he was allowed to speak, and when Jataparata realized now this king is qualified to listen, and it's amazing, these two chapters you will see, you will be surprised that Jataparata attacking Raghuguna Maharaja like directly. He started calling him, you are cruel, you are fool, you are idiot. He was using heavy words. You are exploiting people. You are less intelligent. You are a fool. You are a stupid, acting like an intelligent person. An amazing thing Jataparata says, an intelligent person acting stupid is irresponsibility. And a stupid man acting intelligent is very dangerous. A beautiful thing is quoted by Chanakya also. Yes, intelligent man being stupid is irresponsibility. And a stupid man being intelligent is very dangerous. This is quoted by Chanakya also. Directly he started attacking. And same thing Krishna also did in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. The moment Arjuna said, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava, I am surrendering unto you, I don't know what is right and what is wrong, please guide me. Then immediately Krishna started saying that. You are talking as very intelligent, but in reality you are not very intelligent. Which is indirectly Krishna started calling him, you are a stupid person. So same thing happened here. Krishna started, Jadabharata started chastising him. Heavily he started chastising him. And to the surprise, Raghuguna Maharaja, just few minutes ago, he became so angry and wild, smilingly accepted it. He understood that this man is chastising me for my benefit. He is doing this for my good. So he was happily accepting it. He was listening, he was happily. When Prabhupada called many scientists, very big professionals and very big personalities, Prabhupada on the face, he called them, you are rascals. And you can see those videos where these people were giggling and accepting it. They were agreeing. And they were agreeing and accepting, and they were saying that yes, we were fools, we are rascals only. They were agreeing that. So amazing. Here, Jadabharata went attacking Raghuguna Maharaja directly, and Raghuguna accepted it, right? So then he started asking different kinds of questions, and Jadabharata started explaining nicely. And first topic he explained was about mind. First topic he was explaining was about mind. Okay. Initially, Jadabharata chastised Raghugana Maharaja severely. Then he started slowly explaining. A beautiful analogy is explained by Jadabharata. So devotees, please listen to this type, because today it is like mostly philosophical. It's a little difficult to be very attentive. So please listen to this part carefully. He's saying, how can you call me a servant and how can you think yourself as a king? And Jadabharata gives an example. This earth is made out of 5 elements, Panchabhuta. The 4 palanquin carriers are also made out of Panchabhuta. The palanquin is also made of Panchabhuta. And the king who you are sitting arrogantly on the palanquin is also made out of Panchabhuta. 5 elements. Some matter are alive and they work. Some are inanimate and they are matter, they don't move. Some are animate like humans. And some are palanquin is a dead matter, inanimate, and it doesn't move. But it is all made out of certain combination. And only a fool will say, this is better and that is less. I don't know whether I made my point very clear. All the elements are made out of Panchabhuta. Some elements are animate and some elements are inanimate. And even in animate elements, people say some things are better, some things are not better. And Jadabharata says he is a fool. And Bhanu Maharaj gives a nice explanation to this. Like South Indians, they like idli, dosa and all these things. All made from the same batter. Idli, dosa, even sometimes vada. Everything is made out of the same batter. But many people like dosa more than idli. Some like idlis more than dosa. And is there any specific reason for it? Why I like green color and somebody else likes blue color? Somebody else may like red color. Somebody may like black color. Is there a specific reason for it? There is no reason. But if the man who likes green color says, green is the best, green is the topmost color, green is beyond everything, all the other colors came from green. If he says so, he is a stupid. So same thing here, Jadabharata is saying, all different combination and your mind is stuck between raga and dvesha. Ragadvesha vimuktanam vishayan indriyaischaraan atmavasher videyatma prasadam madhigacchati. Unless a man comes above raga and dvesha, attachment and hatredness, he cannot see Krishna in every living entity. What an amazing statement Bhagavad Gita makes. Unless, because you see in this world, I like some people, I don't like some people. I like certain things I don't like. I am comfortable with certain devotees, I am uncomfortable with certain devotees. I am stuck in between likes and dislikes. Unless I am above these likes and dislikes, it is very difficult. For example, I have a servant in my house. And he had been working for last few years, and slowly I started preaching to him about Krishna. He's a servant. I am paying him monthly salary and he had been with me for a few years. Now, slowly I started preaching to him about Krishna. And that person also fortunately accepted, and he also turned to be a devotee gradually. Then after some time, my mind says that I am also treating him equally like a devotee only. But when he doesn't do job properly, when he misses certain things, immediately I forget all this devotee understanding. I become the boss and he becomes a servant. Because we are completely controlled by raga and dvesha. But at the same time, my Guru Dev is coming. Our spiritual master is coming. I take this person and introduce him to the spiritual master, saying that this is so and so person. He was working with me. Now he starts chanting 16 rounds and he is very good devotee, doing seva, etc., etc., etc. Now the Guru will see you and the devotee equally. But when it comes to me, still I will see him as a servant only. But a Guru, he will see both of us equally. Unless we raise from this duality, raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred, only these two things in this world. Some things we like and some things we don't like, and we are just juggling in between two. And Jadabharata says, unless and until you rise above this platform, you rise yourself above this platform, your mind will be never stable. Control the mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha moksha. 11th canto Krishna says to Uddhava, mind is the reason for all your attachment and miseries and even for liberation. Manapparam karanam namananti samsara chakram parivartayeti yat. So mind is the cause. So